and welcome to Monday Meditations. My name is Moen, and I attend Meeting House Church along with my family. During the season of Lent, we are exploring the theme of the journey to the cross and what it means to walk in the way of Jesus. Throughout history, Lent has been a season of reflection and preparation. It's a time when we practice self-examination and reflect on our relationships with Jesus. Some of the earliest Lenten practices consisted of prayer, fasting, and almsgiving. We observe Lent for 40 days to represent the length of time that Jesus spent fasting and praying in the desert in preparation for his death on the cross. Lent is one of the longest seasons of the Christian calendar, leading to the celebration of Christ's resurrection on Easter morning and the good news of victory over death. Now, when I reflect on Lent, if I'm being honest, some of my initial feelings turn to pangs of loneliness, confusion, and discomfort. Lent can be a jarring reminder of the deprivation and solitude that Jesus endured in the desert and the suffering of a brutal and humiliating execution on the cross. Taking matters further, the gospel repeatedly calls those who consider themselves followers of Jesus to take up their cross and follow him. In Matthew chapter 16, verse 24, Jesus tells his disciples, "If anyone would come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross and follow me. For whoever would save his life will lose it, but whoever loses his life for my sake will find it." Now, this is a difficult message to comprehend and even more challenging to accept. Consider that the Son of God is crucified on our behalf, and then we are called to take up our cross and follow him. How is this to be interpreted? Upon examination, we can see this as a transformative message to move from an old way of life into a new existence, lived by faith in God. We are compelled to acknowledge and confront the hard truth that there is darkness and injustice in the world. We are also, however, invited to be a benefit and blessing to the world through the strength and power that comes from the Lord. In Paul's letter to the Galatians, he uses the metaphor of the crucifixion to illustrate this transformation in his own life. He writes in chapter 2, verse 20, "I have been crucified with Christ. It is no longer I who live, but Christ who lives in me. And the life I now live in the flesh, I live by faith in the Son of God, who loved me and gave himself for me." We are called to live by our faith in Christ. So as we look to follow in the way of Jesus, how can each of us strive to be a benefit and blessing in the world? Unfortunately, we don't need to look far to find examples of suffering that are sometimes on a biblical scale. It is almost as if certain events from the last year were taken from stories of affliction found in the Old Testament. There were wildfires on the West Coast, a brutal war in Ukraine, severe flooding in Pakistan, and catastrophic earthquakes in Syria and Turkey. People at home and abroad have been displaced from their communities, with many forced to flee as refugees. Amid this darkness, there are clear signs of hope in the human and divine light that refuses to be extinguished. It is inspiring to witness this light magnified in some unexpected ways, such as through technology platforms that enable each of us to use our unique gifts to lighten the burden of others. Some examples of this include donating resources to online crowdfunding initiatives, contributing ideas to open source problem solving, and sharing messages of hope with those in need. At Meeting House, the month of March is dedicated to highlighting mission partners who address food insecurity in the Twin Cities, such as Community Emergency Services, Every Meal, Veep, and Little Free Pantry. On March 19th, there will be a Mission Madness engagement fair to learn more about our mission partnerships. This would be a great opportunity for all of us to take another step in our journey as we seek to walk in the way of Jesus.